Hi, Sandra here from Create in Spain. Thanks for joining me today. Today I've got some cards to show you. I'm not going to be demonstrating how to make them because, to be honest, they're pretty straightforward. But I'm just going to give you a few different ideas that you may not have thought about. Now, this first one appears to be a heat embossed piece of acetate on the front of this shaker card. As you can hear, definitely a shaker card. But it actually isn't heat embossed at all. What I've used is a Sakura Jelly Roll Glaze pen. So this pen, one of the Glaze series, is specifically useful for items that are not absorbent. So if you use it on the card, it will absorb into the card like most pens do. But if you use it on something like acetate or vinyl, plastics, glass, ceramics, it stays on top and it just has a very smooth look to it. Now, in this particular case, I put the pen in my cutting machine and I got the cutting machine to draw the design. It went over it twice to make it nice and bright white. And you must remember, if you're going to put a pen like this in your machine, make it go slowly, because then you'll get a good line. If you go too fast, it's not going to give you enough ink coming out at the time. So a slow, steady pace is advised, but it's a really nice thing to do. Speaking of which, if you have a cutting machine and you're able to take pens of this type and other types, not the brand that comes with your machine, if you see what I mean, can you drop a comment down below and let people know? Because some machines will allow you to use other pens and some machines won't. So it'd be really nice to know which ones do and which ones don't. So that's the first card. I topped it off with a very simple sentiment just cut from a glitter card. My next one is also a shaker card. And this one is classically simple. I've used a yellowy cream card base and a white front. Cut out my windows. And with this one, I used a simple bag that's used for gifts. So this sort of glassine bag. And what I did was I put the bag on the inside, and first of all I taped it to the back of this window. Then what I did was I got my heat tool, my wood burning tool, and I put on this little roller here. I went down in the middle, sealed up two sides, put a line down the middle, sealed up through here, and then put the sequins in the little pockets that were formed. And then when the pockets were filled, I sealed up the outer edges. So that means that all these little sequins are within that set area for each window. And that means that they don't all drop to the bottom or to one side or the other. They stay where they are supposed to be. And because it's a glassine envelope, it's a very thin way of doing a window card. So yeah, no bulk to that whatsoever, which is great if you're going to be posting things. And these little butterflies were print and cut ones that I had in my stash. I've been trying to use up things that I've got, which are, I know, leftovers from other projects, things I've cut out and haven't used, all those sorts of bits and pieces. Because I figure that since we are in Spain now going to be housebound for the next couple of weeks, probably, definitely no craft shopping going to be going on, I want to use some of the things that I've got stored that I haven't got round to using. So that's that one. This one, I was using up a background and a little critter that I had cut out. Now the background was simply done with alcohol pens, so I just went from the centre out, no particular order of colour, overlapped them, Didn't even make sure the lines were straight. It was just very casually done. And then the inside element here is literally done with my machine. Be bold, be beautiful, be you. And on this particular occasion, I infilled the letters with a line fill. I was going to leave it like that with a silver border on it, and I decided it needed something else, so that's where the little critter came in. My last card is also a shaker card, and it's got some very recognisable critters on there. Now the reason I would show you this one is, well, twofold. Firstly, to show you that you could actually do this on glitter card, and this is simply done with an embossing tool, or in my particular case, the one that I devised for my machine, which is one of the nail art tools put into a shortened holder. So, like this, only I took one of these out of the holder, made a plastic holder for it to fit my machine, and I used that for doing all my scoring. So I was able to actually score these lines into the glitter card, because you don't want to put pen lines on the glitter card because you will tend to ruin your pens doing it. Even though it's relatively smooth to your pen, it's not. And the other thing is, what I've done, again, with my tool here, and you could use a fuse if you have one. On the back of this, I put my bag, cut it down to size, but then I actually used this tool to go over the back of this, roughly in line with the edges, to stop all my bits and pieces falling down in there instead. So they actually stay in the top part of the card where I want them to show, which is always a good idea. So there we go, that's a few different ideas for some cards made out of bits and pieces and that I already had in my stash. Hope you enjoyed watching, and I've given you some ideas for something to do, and I'll see you again soon. Take care now.